The Chucky series has had the advantage of having pretty much the same creative force the entire time with Don Mancini. Is that his name? I might have fucked it up.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Whoever the creative force is, it's been consistent the entire time. And that's why the movies have evolved in such a kind of natural way. And why the series, I think, is getting also really good reviews because it's the same people involved the entire time.
I was not a fan of Seed of Chucky or Cult of Chucky.
Really?
Yeah. Seed of Chucky, I was able to get through a little bit more. Cult of Chucky, I was over. So over. Yeah, I made it through it because, I have followed Chucky, all throughout the time frame, and so I was like, gotta do it, gotta bite the bullet on this one. I have not seen the newest one with Aubrey Plaza. I do love her, but I know her as April, so I really don't know her as much else. It's gonna be weird to watch that newer Chucky with her as a mom.
Child's Play, not Chucky. Thank you. But no, I liked the remake of Child's Play. It was very different, like very, very different. And I like that about it. And Mark Hamill doing the voice, a huge departure, obviously, than Brad Dourif, but it was really, really well done.
Like I'm not even familiar with the movie that you're talking about, but I'm like, Aubrey Plaza was in one and Mark Hamill was in one?
Yeah. So it's 3 or 4. Yeah, 3 or 4 years old.
In 2019, they redid Child's Play, and Aubrey Plaza played Karen.
Yeah, so she plays Andy's mom. I don't remember if it's Andy. I think it is. Yeah. And then Mark Hamill does the voice of Chucky.
Yep.
There's a song on the soundtrack that is super creepy. Yeah.
Chucky, the TV show, builds on everything with the Seed of Chucky and Cult of Chucky, which I haven't watched. So sometimes I'd be like, oh, I don't know what they're talking about. And then they like quickly did enough where I'm like, okay, apparently that was one of the movies that I hadn't watched.
Yeah. Cult of Chucky goes kind of off the rails, but I think it's a fun off the rails. I could totally understand people who don't enjoy it.
Was not my favorite.
Yeah, that's
okay.
fine. That's fine. It's a fine, is what I said. Anyway, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
I think that we are going to have a meeting of some sort.
It was such a long pause, and you're saying it so slowly.
I know.
Jay, it's Sunday, or no, it's Monday. It's Monday, and we're having a meeting in the Scary Movie Club.
That is fucking right. We are. And we have our friend Alina back. Hello, Alina.
Hey, Alina.
Hello.
So I guess let's introduce ourselves.
Well, hey, I'm Victoria.
Hi, I'm Jay.
Hi, I'm Alina from Akron Horror Hounds.
Welcome to the Scary Movie Club.
I'm in the goddamn club, all right.
On meeting agenda here, we are watching Scream 4 because we took a nice spring break. Yeah. So we decided to just keep rolling with the Scream series, finish it out. Obviously, next week we'll have Scream 5, which is very exciting because it just ties it in a nice little bow. Hint, it doesn't.
Finish in air quotes.
We are streaming Scream 4. So I am currently watching this on Amazon Prime on the Paramount Plus add-on. Jace of Beans, where are you watching it?
Also Amazon, but I think it went through my Showtime add-on.
And Alina?
I'm in Paramount Plus.
Nice. All right, cool.
We talked too much. So is your last name Bean?
Yeah.
Yes. Beane.
Yep.
And so I looked up your store, the address of your store, and it says it's like one of those pallet stores, like kind of a Home Goods Tuesday morning. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Or is it different because now it's Mr. Bean's Emporium, and I didn't know if Google was up to date.
So Mr. Bean's This and That is the main thing, and it is the like damaged box, overstock, blah blah blah. But I think presented in a really fun, clean kind of way.
Very clean. It's a very clean store.
The Cabinet of Curiosities is me starting to bring more things that I like into the store just to kind of expand what we're doing. Eventually, I would like to start a second store that is just that stuff.
Like the collectibles. Like, is that like?
Yeah, so like collectibles, then like I want to do t-shirts and like art prints and patches and stickers, but also like mild taxidermy. So not like a full lion or a giraffe's head, but like here's a bat in a shadow box with some flowers, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think there's a huge market for it in this area, and I'm very, very excited for it. And that's kind of...
Yeah, I have a whole wall of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your fire stick's about to go to sleep again.
Ready?
So Scream 4 is going to be the movie of, hey, did you ever watch this TV show? Because every new character, every new actor.
Yeah.
Like what are they from? Is this Pretty Little Liars and Friday Night Lights?
I've never seen Friday Night Lights, but I did watch the first season of Pretty Little Liars when it was on. And yes, Lucy Hale is from Pretty Little Liars.
Which one is Lucy Hale? She yellow top?
Yellow top. Okay. Yeah, this movie just is nostalgia after nostalgia. Like all of this is just sewn together, parts of all the other Scream movies to celebrate Wes Craven in this. And I really like that. It was his last movie before he passed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think this is a huge, I love this movie. It's not my favorite, definitely not, but it is, I love this movie because I think it's just a celebration of Wes Craven. And I think it's just really fun. Very pop culture-y. Yeah, it's a good time, I think. And Jay loves, who doesn't love a little Hayden Panettiere in there?
I do.
I really enjoy this movie, especially as someone who isn't a huge fan of Scream 3. Like Scream 4 is back to form, back to Woodsboro, everything I want. Teenagers getting harassed by creepy phone calls.
Takes it back to the roots.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a return to form for me. If we go with the assumption that Scream 3 was more satirical of Hollywood and the actual Scream films themselves, this feels like a return to form of being critical of the genre as a whole and satirical, but not as slapsticky.
Well, Wes Craven did say he wasn't coming back unless it was going to be as good as the 1996 Scream. And I think that, it's nowhere near as good, but it came pretty close. It came very close. And having him direct this and everything, this was, up until the new Scream, the only slasher film to have its original director and original cast members come back, which is, I think that's what I love about Scream literally so much. Those are my two favorite facts about the Scream franchise, is that I get the best director through and through, and then I get the three main characters all the way through, and I love every second of it.
So even though I've seen this movie I think 4 times now in the last 2 weeks, when Lucy Hale opens the door, the shadow of the tree and the way like the light hits it, to me looks like Ghostface is standing there.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, oh no.
A misplaced tree.
Yes.
And so did they punk you in the scene that, oh my God, we actually saw 2 ghost faces in one room together?
Yeah. When I first saw it, I was fully convinced that this was the actual opening and not a stab. My reaction was, oh, I like that. Because I thought it was a cool effect. And then the fact that they went back to it and then went back to it, I also like that.
I love this fake opening with Kristen Bell and Anna Paquin.
Favorite.
It's probably my second favorite opening because they don't, to me, these 2 characters don't fit into Woodsboro
not
at all.
Yeah.
They don't look like they fit in. They look like they're 35-year-old women trying to play 16-year-olds with the made up hair.
All the blonde.
Yeah.
I was taking it. I was like, are we go? And now after that, I was like, once I saw this, I was like, there is no possible way that this is at the actual opening. I was like, no, they did not pay for Kristen Bell and Anna Paquin through the whole thing. Like, no, they did not. So yeah, I loved that. I just wasn't sure which one of you knew one of them was going to do something. You just didn't know which one it was going to be. So I really appreciate that they take Kristen Bell, who of course is, out of the 2 of them, you do get a more ditzier vibe from her, but that's, I think, just because like the way they have her stare off into space for a little bit. Plus, Anna Paquin, True Blood, we love to see it.
Yeah. So going back to everyone being involved in another series, Lucy Hale was Pretty Little Liars. Shanae Grimes Beach was from 90210. Kristen Bell, Veronica Mars, and then later The Good Life, or no, Good Place. Yeah, sorry. Anna Paquin was from True Blood, and then we have Amy Teagarden from Friday Night Lights, and Britt Robertson from The Secret Circle and Under the Dome. I couldn't tell you who any of those people actually are, other than Kristen Bell and Anna Paquin.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea who these two were because now,
Yeah.
of course, we have two new sets of blondes on the screen after yet another opening to Stab 7. And so this is where they just start talking about like you can't keep using those openings to open the movie. And so she gets into this whole like time travel thing about Stab 5, which is really funny because Wes Craven wanted to use time travel in the Nightmare on Elm Street 4, and the studio nixed it very quickly. They're like, that's a terrible idea, which thank God. But yeah, so it's fun that they're, again, just a love note to Wes Craven, just little pokes here and there. Love it. So I will say too, this is really cool. Scream 4, when we do actually see like the real ghost face on screen, we know that stature pretty well. It's the same stuntman who appeared in Scream 1 and Scream 2 who played Ghostface the entire time, other than the first murder scene with Wes Craven in Scream 1. So that's pretty cool. I was doing a lot of reading about Ghostface and his evolution, and I love to see the masks from 1, 2, 3, and 4 like side by side and see how that's kind of changed over time, and like the even the color of the mask and like the eye sockets and everything. It's really neat to see.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that this movie feels like a kind of return to form is because Kevin Williamson is back to write the entire script. However, it didn't go super well. He clashed with the Weinstein brothers kind of a lot during the scripting process, to the point where Aaron Kruger did some rewrites, and at least I think 6 other people contributed to the script at different points. But honestly, I think the movie as a whole doesn't really suffer from that. It feels more consistent than I think 3 did for Alina and I, at least. But yeah, I appreciate having Kevin Williamson back.
This is probably my least favorite Scream, just because of Emma Roberts. I can't. I can't. I don't like Emma Roberts. So yeah, it's hard for me to watch her. She plays a bitch real well, though, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
She's very good at playing a bitch. But I mean, she's not entertaining to me. I don't believe her other than her bitchy qualities, just because maybe she is just so good at it that like it's hard to see past that. So when she tries to, I mean, but she is kind of passively aggressively a bitch through this whole thing. So to be fair.
Yeah.
To be fair.
I like Emma Roberts, but I do feel like she gets typecast. So I don't know. She only ever plays one character. And is that her fault or the casting director's fault that she's only ever Scream Queens and American Horror Story? She's just the bitchy mean girl who like, I'm thinking of her like shaking and like nodding and being like, I fucking hate this. Give me my cappuccino or whatever it is that she does in Scream Queens.
Which is funny because she's not a horror person. Like Emma Roberts doesn't like horror. She doesn't like scary movies. Yet she's done 5 seasons of American Horror Story. She did Scream Queens, and then she did this, but like
I know her as American Horror Story, where she's just the whiny bitchy girl, and so in this, and reading some of the reviews of like, oh well, we don't know who this Emma Roberts is. Time will tell. She wasn't a draw on the movie, and I'm like, really? Because I know it's Emma Roberts. It's Emma. Like,
yeah, as she got older, she went from like movies. She went from Addie Singer from Unfabulous and movies like Aquamarine and A Hotel for Dogs. And she goes to Scream 4, Cults, the girl with the tramp stamp tattoo. And she plays a kind of a bitchy character in We're the Millers too. Yeah. So I mean, she went from this really sweet girl to this just progressively like Mean Girls Regina George style character.
I think it goes to show that despite you not liking her, she does actually have some kind of range, because she was.
Oh, you mean from like super sweet like honey to a huge bitch and never the two shall meet? Is that what you mean?
Well, I mean,
Alina and I can tell you right now, we probably could name 3 women off the top of our head who are very good at being very, very sweet, but also very, very bitchy. That's not something that you need a lot of range for, sir.
Well, I mean, she was also in Nancy Drew and really fucking good in it. Like, it's a great kids movies. My kids really liked it. And, you know, it was smart and funny. And like, I'm not even like a Emma Roberts fan. I'm just saying, I think she's a fine actress. And, you know, I almost started talking about the end, and I'm not going to do that.
So how much of American Horror Story have you seen?
I have seen part of one season.
Okay. Which season? It's an anthology. You can skip around. Just the first?
Yeah.
I would argue the first season is the best season. My second favorite season, if not season 1, Murder House, would be like season